Good morning. Let's all stand and get warm by singing How Great Is Our God. So please stand and sing with us. The splendor of the King, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice.
seated, and thank you for singing, and thank you for being here today. Oh, it's so good to see so many faces today, some that we haven't seen this year, and it's good to have them back. Also, it's good to see Linda able to come back. We just tickled to death and prayed for Wilbur. We're glad you're here today. But I look out and see so many, and I just thank God that you're here with us today. I hope that as you read your bulletin, you'll take notice of some of the activities that is offered and that is coming in the near future. Number one, I want to invite all of the men, and this is all of our men, from young men like Brandon and Luke's age all the way up. We want to invite you to come and make a choir with us this afternoon. It starts this afternoon at 4 o'clock right here in the sanctuary. And we invite you to come and take part in that. And we're going to practice. It'll be old songs out of the hymn book. And I know you'll enjoy singing them. And it always sounds different coming from a men's choir. And we want to invite you to come. And also we're going to be making plans for our service. And just doing all of that fun stuff. And then next Sunday is Baptist Men's Day. And we're looking forward to hearing special testimonies, hearing special music. And we want to invite you to mark your calendar, invite your friends and family to come. And we're going to have a great Sunday next Sunday with Baptist Men's Day. But Wednesday night, we get a treat there also. This Wednesday night is what I call our famous soup and salad meal. We invite you to bring your famous soup that you've always made for your family. Come and share it with this family. Or maybe a salad. There's all kinds of strange salads out there, and I love all the strange ones too. The bean salad and all kinds of different salads. So bring those and be a part. It's at 6 o'clock this Wednesday, and I hope you'll read that. 6 o'clock this Wednesday night in our fellowship hall. So come on out, bring your soup, bring your salad, bring your cornbread. Just come and be ready to eat. We do ask you if you have a special soup or maybe a salad, you might want to write the ingredients down on a piece of paper so we can lay in front of your pot so people know what they're eating. I never understood that until people got upset with me when I gave them cooter stew. I love cooter stew growing up. And for all of you city slickers, that's turtle stew, okay? And people say, no, I'm not going to eat that. And I said, if you'd ate my grandma's cooter stew, you would have eaten it. It was good. But anyway, we want to know what's in there. So you don't have to disclose your special recipe, but just give us the main ingredients, okay? Is it horse or is it cow? Or something like that. So just come and be a part. And I'm going to scare everybody off so I can eat all the soup. And anyway, y'all come and be a part of that. And you'll notice other things. The Forever Young group is planning a local dinner. And so I hope you'll see that. We'll give you more information next Sunday, but we want you to make sure, go by. There's a sign-up sheet. It explains it. And we want, Connie, you want to comment on that? Or Debbie? Anybody want to comment? All right, so go by and see the prayer list, the table of interest, the sign-up sheet. We might need prayer where we're going, but anyway. I'm glad you're here. Any other announcements? Make sure you read your bulletin. Make sure you take action in it. And I've got just a couple of prayer requests that I'd like to bring to you right now as we begin. And maybe you have somebody on your heart, or maybe you have a praise report. Number one, a couple of Sundays ago, I shared with you my relationship with a convict down here at Stanley Correctional Institute. His name's Jasper Summers, and the way we began our relationship was with a letter. And the letter was basically, I just want somebody to talk to me. I want somebody to write me. Well, I've got another one. I don't think he knows Jasper, and I don't think he knows me. I think these are letters that these lonesome men send out wanting someone to correspond with them. If you feel led to take up this young man, He is not a murderer. He is in for breaking and entering. And he wants someone just to write him that's a Christian, to encourage. And that's all that Jasper wanted to do. And so if you're interested, I can't take on the second one, but maybe you could. And maybe that's what God's calling Grace Baptist Church into ministry. And that is, take this letter, it's written to Grace Baptist Church generic, but you can say that it's to you. So if God's leading you to do that, I want you to pray about it. I'm going to lay this envelope right here. I don't care who takes it. And if it's still there, we're going to put it in the trash can. Because I can't really respond to Jasper like I need to. But I want you to come, and if God's leading you to do that, come and do it. Begin writing him. If you need any questions on how to do it, believe me, I've gone through the whole thing. If you want to go see him, you can. But there's a process you have to do. But I believe that is a great ministry, and I think it is a divine ministry, because God said, I was in prison and you visited me. And Jesus said, as you have done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. So there's your choice or your chance of ministry. Also, continue to remember the many on our prayer list. Deanna is doing as well as could be expected with cleaning up of her shoulder. She's very sore. She is not in a brace. She's not in a sling. She is free to do whatever she feels like. The problem is it hurts so bad she don't feel like it. And so I want you to continue to remember her. Also, Brenda Malden has had some episodes with her heart. We need to lift her up. Also, Pat Biggers has taken a fall this past week and tore up her kneecap. Miss Colleen Russell, understand that the family believes, as well as the doctor, she's experiencing some mini strokes. And it's being told by her body and all of that. Also, a good friend of many of you that frequent Handy Mart, and that's Terry Burris' wife, Earlene, little short booger. She's been to here when Terry comes to preach. She found out she has uterine cancer. And they're going to be doing a complete hysterectomy the 7th of February. And we need to lift her up because they're concerned. Tangi is finding out exactly what's going on. They don't know that they've not made an action plan against this cancer, but they have found out that she does have breast cancer. And Kenneth Furr, Pat Furr's husband, he's had a really tough week and just asked that you lift him up. They're still trying to do surgery, but his heart won't let him. What about you? You got a praise report that you might want to just stand and share?
One.
Yes.
Not all of y'all would know our older daughter, Randy Covington, but she is a hairstylist in Charlotte. And she has had a customer who is an avowed atheist. Well, this last week that lady came in and she has asked Randy to pray for her. She said, I don't know what y'all do. I don't know how you go about it, but I want you to pray for me.
Amen.
So, Randy will have her in that chair every 4 to 6 weeks, and she won't be able to go anywhere, so we'll see how that goes.
Captured audience, as we say. Next.
Pastor,
Yes, sir, Ernest.
I'll have to tell you a little about my experience last week.
All right.
I told you about it as we were walking back to Sunday school class this morning, but I laid down, and about 5 o'clock, I was gibbering and gibbering, and my wife tried to wake me up to see what was the matter. Because I woke her up, you know. She couldn't get me awake. And she told me about this that day. And she said that the driver of the ambulance, when they got there, got me waking up, that I was able to walk through the front door and then come to the ambulance, and they loaded me up all the way down to the emergency room. And they did all that jiving stuff in just died because of that. Wish I could go. I had no memories of none of that until she told me. And I says, well, they didn't anything hurt me. I says, I haven't hurt since I got back. Nothing has hurt me. I'm sorry, it takes so much time. But you know, when you're ready to die, that's a good life.
Yeah, boy.
You know, hurt.
Yep.
Some people lay in rest homes for years. But I had no recollection, no feelings of hurt, pain, or nothing. And I thought life was lost. I could not have been ready the next day.
Right.
Since I don't know if that was a warning or what.
Right.
But I thought it was now the church back.
Well, amen.
Let them pray for me, and let them pray for the church. I pray for the churches. The church is my church family here.
Yes, sir.
Many of them that I know are heard. I pray for my name. And I pray for the whole church crowd. And I love He's been so good to me. I'm getting old enough. I guess it's about me to take me out, but I don't have no feeling of being hurt other than I can't hide a wall. My right knee just get away from him, and that's hindering him an awful lot. The things I like to do, which is keep my yard straight and help the wife in the house. But I thought about it. A lot of us could go to bed. I didn't come to pray that to go to sleep the next night. This happened last Tuesday morning, and I hardly wanted to go to sleep on Wednesday night. I thought, well, no, we're going to go out tonight.
Yeah.
But that's it. I had a good night, slept good. But you know, that is so easy. You lay down, and you don't know if you get up the next morning or not.
That's
You don't know if you'll last through the night or not. The heart, if you're going, if you can breathe, you'll be able to get up the next morning. But we should always say our prayers at night. That could be the last prayer that you'll say.
Amen.
And I just thought I'd tell you about that experience. I've never had anything like that before. When I didn't hurt. I didn't hurt when I went to bed. I didn't hurt when I woke up. But that's the story.
Thank you, Brother Ernest, and thank you for the warning. We do not know what tomorrow holds. The question is, are you ready? Anybody else before we pray? Let's pray. Father, we praise you that you bring us to a place and that, Father, you reveal your precious word to us. Father, your word is truth. Where America believes it, for Father, where we believe it, it'll always be true. So Father, help us to want to get that truth out to the world. And we praise you, Father, for this testimony of Brother Ernest. Father, how that you, Father, may be warning us that the end is near. But Father, it's in your hands. Father, we don't have the right to end it early. We don't have the right to take someone else's life in our own hands. So Father, help us to understand today how you value human life. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Your record in book of Acts, page 339. Page 339. So the first and last verse. So please stand and sing with us.
Father, knowing it is well with our soul, even from our pocketbooks. Father, we love to sing that old song, but Lord, many times we fail to act on it. Father, we know it's well, and we'll trust you in it. Just as Ernest could lay down without a concern. My prayer today is if there's anyone here that, Father, can't say it's well with their soul, that, Father, they'll make it right today. So, Father, help us to give sacrificially, but also help us to give joyfully. Because, Father, you promised if we give sacrificially and joyfully, you'll bless. And, Father, we're going to take you at your word. And we're going to let you have your will and way. Thank you for this body of believers. Now I'm praying for the one here today that is not a believer. I pray, Lord, that you'll stir them up with the message, Father, with the songs, and also with the fellowship. That, Father, they might want to be a part of this family. We ask in Jesus' name.
You may be seated.
Extend the Master's hand.
system too, but I'm sure glad you're here. And I've got something special today. I'm going to ask Miss Kathy Silence, if she will. She's going to talk to you about a little challenge. And while she's talking, I'm going to run up here and I'm going to start something that we're going to watch together. Kathy's going to tell you all about it, so adults, listen up, because this is more for you than it is for these kids. But I want these children to hear it along with you. So Miss Kathy, would you come?
Sorry, my glasses I used to be. Good morning, boys and girls. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Do you know what today is here in the church? Baby bottle, but it's also called Sanctity of Life. You know what that means? I'll give you a little bit of background, really brief. Well, what that means is, it tells us in Genesis that we were created in God's image, right? So, we want to be like God and do the things that God would like us to do, right? We learn these things in Sunday school every Sunday. Miss Darlene teaches us, and Debbie, and sometimes me, different ones lately since Miss Brenda wrote a book. But what that means is that we need to help other people, right? So we need to show God's love and God's forgiveness and His generosity to other people. So how do we do that? Well, this is how. This bottle needs to be filled up with coins. And you know where those coins goes? Anybody know? Goes to the people. It goes to new moms and dads and babies. And it helps them get all the things that they need. So I have a challenge for you in a project. And what I want you to do is to get baby bottles and have them back in the back. And I want you to fill them up with all the ones that you can find, okay? Now, I have a little secret about where to find coins. Now, when my dad used to sit on the sofa, he'd get up. And every time he'd get up, he would lose the change on his pocket. So, go look under sofa cushions and under seats. And also, you can ask your aunts and uncles and grandparents and moms and dads to give you some change to put in these bottles, okay? This is very important. This helps moms and dads and babies. So one other place you can look is, if you offer to help your mom sort the laundry, if you look in pockets, you'll find money. And on top of dressers, people always stuff money in their pockets there to get them. Once I found $16. That's a lot of money, right? That goes a long way in this baby. So I want you to think about that, places to find the money, and I want you to work on this. Now, I want you to say this, I want you to say it with me, and understand that this is very important for us to do, right? I want you to say it really loud. And I want you to mean in your heart that you're going to collect this money, okay? Because this is going to help little babies and moms and dads. Let's do this. So as loud as you can. Let's say. Ready? Let's do this. Now that's loud. Let's do this. Okay? That's still not loud enough. We don't want to make it go. I know in Bible school that you guys can raise this money. Because I've seen you raise it a lot of money. A lot of money. So, let me hear it like you're in Bible school. And I'm going to let you go to really, really loud. Let's do this. Okay, thank you very much.
Boys and girls, and all the adults, I want you to hear a testimony today. This is Sanctity of Life Day, and in this, we have a pregnancy resource center that Kathy's talking about raising money for. Well, I want you to hear the testimony of their director. It's on their website. If you want to tell your family about it, tell them to go to their website, and it's right there. So listen to this testimony. It's very powerful, and it's something that all of us need to hear.
PRC. About 7.5 years ago, my husband was on the board of directors here. At that time, I was a speech therapist in Stanley County Schools. And he came home one night from a board meeting, and I was asking him how it went. And he said it went well, and he said, there's this Bible study they're going to have. I think you might be interested in it. And I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what's it about? And he said, it's a Bible study for women who are post-abortive. And I said, because that's who I am. When I was 19, I was in an unhealthy relationship, and I got pregnant. I was in college. I was scared to come home, and I don't really remember talking about options. I don't remember if there were even pregnancy resource centers then. I think those were just getting started back then. I didn't really know anything about abortion, but that was the choice I was given. I could have made other choices, but at that time I didn't feel like I had another choice. And so that's what happened. I had an abortion when I was 13. I was a believer at the time. I had grown up in church. I repeatedly asked God for forgiveness at that point. And as I got older and then met my husband and had a family, I knew God forgave me. I knew He loved me. But there was like a wall there. It was like no matter what I did at church, no matter how many Bible studies, no matter what, there was a wall. And I didn't really understand it, and I kept asking, what is this? And so when I stepped out in faith and went to that Forgiven and Set Free Bible study, that's when I found out what that wall was. It was my wall. It wasn't God's wall. Because of my past, because of the decisions I had made, Satan led me to believe that I wasn't righteous. I knew God loved me, but I really didn't feel like I deserved that love. I knew He forgave me. I knew Jesus had died on the cross for my sins. But I didn't feel like I deserved that forgiveness. And Forgiven and Set Free changed my life. It renewed and restored my hope and my relationship with Jesus Christ. I learned through that Bible study that is steeped in Scripture that I am righteous in His sight. And I do deserve that forgiveness, not because of me, but because of Jesus. He taught me that when I accepted Jesus as my Savior, I wear what I call my Jesus coat. It's my coat of righteousness because of Jesus. And when God looks at me, He doesn't see that person in the past. He doesn't see that sin. He sees the righteousness of Jesus Christ. And I was set free. The title of that Bible study is just so true. It set me free in my relationship with Christ. And from that point on, I told Gina, I got to be a part of this. I've got to share this with more women. And so she said, okay, we'll start training you to help lead this Bible study. And I was so excited about that. In that process, I was still a speech therapist in Stanley County. And one day I was driving between schools. I was listening to some praise music on the radio, and I pulled into the parking lot, and it was like the Holy Spirit was in the car with me. And He said, I'm going to tell you something, and you need to say it out loud. And I'm sitting in my car thinking, okay. And He said, I want you to do more ministry for me. And I said, okay, Lord, you want me to do more ministry for you, but I don't know what that looks like. What does that mean? Where? How? But he didn't answer that question. That's all that was said. And I sat there for a little bit, and I got out of my car, and I got my stuff, and I went inside the school and did my normal thing. I didn't tell anybody about that event because I thought, wow, that was really strange. I didn't even tell my husband. The next day, I met with Gina, and we were going through our training, getting ready to lead my first Freedom and Set Free Bible study that spring. And she looked at me and she stopped and she said, Jennifer, I just got to tell you something. I hope you don't think I'm crazy. She said, but the Lord has just laid this on my heart, and I've got to tell you. Our client services director is going to be leaving, and I think you're the one for that job. And my mouth just dropped open, and I'm like, you have no idea what happened to me yesterday. And I just, God is just so cool how he does things. And she said, I just want you to think about that and pray about that. And I got back in the car and I called my husband and I said, Clay, you're never going to believe what happened. And he was like, oh, I knew it. He thinks he knows everything, but I love him so much. So over the next month or two, I did pray about that and think about it. And she called me up one day and she said, Jennifer, our client services director is in fact leaving. And I think you're the one for this job. I'm not going to advertise this position. You just need to let me know what you want to do. I was like, wow, oh my goodness. And I talked with my family, and my family was so supportive. My kids were so supportive because they knew this would mean a big change for us. We would have to make some financial changes. But, my daughter Carly said, Mama, if this is what God wants you to do, you better do it. And so I took maybe a day, and I called Gina back, and she said, wow, I didn't expect it that soon. And I said, well, the Lord told me, how much clearer do you want me to make it? And I took that leap of faith. And it will be 6 years this June. And I cannot tell you, words don't express what it means to me to be at the Pregnancy Resource Center and to do what God has called me to do, that He chose me to do this, that He lets me show up for work every day, that I get to talk about Jesus to people every day, that I get to share that hope, and that He can change everything. It is just a joy to be a part of this ministry that He birthed 30 years ago, and to be a part of this team, the women I get to work with, the men that volunteer here. I am just so blessed that God called me here. Thank you.
Boys and girls, God's going to call you one day. God's going to call and ask you. Maybe not run an organization, but I guarantee you He's going to call you one day and ask you, will you take His story to your friends? So let's pray together. And let's ask God to use us, okay? Come on, say these with me. Dear Jesus, use me in any way. Amen. That's a heck of a prayer to pray. I hope you're ready. Thank you. Thanks for coming and being here today. Y'all go ahead and find your seat. I'm going to fix my jump. I'm going to ask you to take out your Bibles and turn with me to Philippians. And we're about out of time, and so I want to invite you to be a part of this and study with us as we're going to begin today. And then we will try to wrap this up next Sunday. If you remember what we've been doing, and what we've entitled this is basically, Paul is telling the church at Philippi, let this mind be in you. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through in the next months and weeks, we're going to go through and try to understand what kind of mind should we have. What kind of mind should we have? Well, the reason I wanted Miss Swink to tell you that today is exactly what kind of mind we need. Someone who will hear the Holy Spirit, and secondly, will respond in obedience to it. You see, Paul says, I want you to have joy. Great joy. And so we're going to be looking at how to find joy in our mindset and in our minds itself. And that joy can be found at first in gratitude. The way Paul was grateful for the people of Philippi. Basically, he thanked them for being his great blessing. That great blessing that their family had become to him. But also how they had joined together and that they had become along with him in the ministry as they both and all looked toward the great hope. You see, it's an amazing thing what God has called us all here at Grace Baptist Church to do. And that is hoping and praying that God will use us somehow to see another soul saved. You see, the great goal is one thing. And we spent some time on this last Sunday. And the great goal is just this, that we would be willing to allow God to use us to bring glory and honor to Him and Him alone. You see, we've got to understand that's why we're here. We're not here to make you happy. I'm not talking about grace. I'm talking about God has put you here on this earth not to make you happy. He's here to share the gospel. That's why He's put us, every one of us, here. And if you want true joy in your life, you're going to forget about the things of the world. And you're going to start putting your heart on the gospel and spreading that. You see, it's all about perspective. How do you look at what and where you are in your life right now? What brought you here? I mean, what has damaged you along the way? How the events of life have scarred you and have given you every excuse in the world why you can't do anything. Let me tell you, I want to tell you about a man. A man by the name of Paul. Believe me, he had better excuses than you could ever dream. And his was real. Yet he had a perspective on what happened and why it happened than any of us combined. Understanding what God's doing in your life, it takes a godly perspective. It takes a mindset that only God can give. I mean, I got to thinking when I was preparing this of what brought me to Grace Baptist Church. But I also looked at many of your lives and I thought about some of the pain and the hurt that y'all have been through in your life. And how you still come. How many of you have lost daughters, lost spouses, lost brothers or cousins, or even grandchildren. How do you process that? I want you to read with me, and we're not going to read except 3 verses this morning since our time is already gone. And that is beginning in verse 12. And I'm going to ask you if you would to stand to honor the reading of the Word. Philippians chapter 1, verse 12. And Paul writing to them says, "But I want you to know, brethren, that the things which happened to me have actually turned out for the furtherance of the gospel, so that it is or has become evident to the whole palace guard and to all the rest that my chains are in Christ. And most of all, brethren, in the Lord, having become confident in my chains, are much more bold to speak the word without fear." Father, help us. Help us that we might have this mind in us. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated. 2 things. And we're only going to work on the first one, and that is our perspective toward opportunity. Our perspective in opportunity. What is your opportunity of life? I know what I set out to be and do. What did you set out to be and do? Where are you in that process? Everything going well? Everything coming up roses? Everything just peachy keen, as we say? Well, I bet it's not. You see, let me tell you about a man named Paul. You see, this man, believe it or not, had seen so many tests and trials in his life, a normal person would have quit. I know I would have. If I'd been beaten this many times, physically beaten, if I'd been stoned like Paul had been stoned, I'd throw in the towel. If I'd been tarred and feathered and run out of town, or hung by a basket and let down by a wall, I believe I would have left and never returned. You see, Paul has had opportunities, and it's unbelievable how much he wanted to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Guess what our opportunities are? To make more money, to be more comfortable, and to be popular. And I could go on and on and on. Let me tell you, you know what Paul's perspective was? I'm here to share the gospel, and that gospel only. And I'm going to do it at the best of my ability. I'm going to do it until Jesus shuts my mouth and I'm going to die. That is my opportunity. And let me tell you something, Christian. God has given every one of you an opportunity to share the gospel. I wonder how's it going. Well, we can really struggle with it. Paul could, because tests came. Do you know where Paul's headed? Now, you know where he's at. He's in prison. He's chained up. And it looks like to me that would just kill the mood of sharing the gospel, wouldn't it? You know, why did God put me here? Why did God put me to the test? I mean, when you stop and think about it, why was Paul treated so bad by God? Because if you believe in a sovereign God, you believe that everything he's gone through is exactly what God had put down for him to go through. But can I tell you how he thinks? But read that first verse, verse 12. Paul says, "But I want you to know, brethren, that the things which happened to me has actually turned out for the furtherance of the gospel." Paul said, you know, I don't see it as a test. I see it as a triumph. Because let me tell you something. He said, you know, I'm supposed to be headed to Rome. I'm going to be in Rome, and I'm going to preach at the greatest synagogues. I'm going to preach in the great Colosseum of Rome. I want to draw people, and then when I finish in Rome, I'm headed to Spain, and I want to take the gospel to all the world. Do you realize what happened to Paul's life? He's sitting in prison. He's under arrest. And he is surely to die. And Paul had the audacity to say, God's used this to further the gospel. And you may say, how in the world did Paul say that? Okay, here's a couple of evidences real quickly. Number one, when he was arrested in Jerusalem, what did he do? He got to the top of the steps and he said, may I speak? And they gave him the floor of the people that hated him most. And Paul stood up and said, let me tell you about a Jesus that came and opened my eyes. What about when he was placed in prison in Caesarea and he was there for 2 years? He was under house arrest. He couldn't preach anymore. Guess what happened? He began to receive people. He began to encourage. But he began encouraging you and I with his letters. He began writing. He began doing things in God. And Paul says, I just want you to know, this has brought the furtherance of the gospel. What about his shipwreck? What about his trip to Rome when he finally declares he wants to see Caesar, he wants justice? Isn't it amazing what happened? Paul told the boys on the boat, he said, hang on, we're going to lose the boat, but I'm going to tell you, my God said we will not lose a life. And as soon as Paul gets on the land, what happens? He gets up firewood because it's cold, it's raining, and he picks up firewood and he walks over to the fire, and as soon as he hands it up to the fire, and a big old serpent came out of the stick and absolutely bit him, and everybody sit back and said, well, he's fixing to die. Guess what? He didn't. He said, all of this has happened for the furtherance of the gospel. Now he's sitting in Rome. And this is the funniest part of it all. And this is, I just chuckle if you want to get to it. Because he says that, but none of these things move me. Nor do I count my life dear to myself so that I might finish my race with joy. And the ministry which I received from the Lord Jesus to testify to the gospel of the grace of God. Paul said, none of this moves me. Even when the test comes. But what about when the stops come? I've been in a couple of stops, haven't you? Might have been a physical stop of illness. And you wonder, why do you think I go down to the nursing homes every month and encourage them? Because they're in a stop. They no longer can go and be at church and help in the kitchen or the nursery, or that they can't teach Sunday school any longer. They're stuck in a wheelchair and they're sitting down there just waiting to die. You know, with our perspective, that's exactly the way many of your lives are going to end up. You're just going to fade away. You're going to lay there and you're going to feel sorry for yourself. You know what Paul said? Paul said, all of this has happened so that I might share the gospel. And guess what God did? God did not put him in the Colosseum at Rome. He did not put him in the greatest synagogues in Rome. Do you know where he put Saul? He put Paul right in the middle of the palace of Caesar. Look what he says in verse 13. So that it has become evident to the whole palace guard, or praetorium guard, and to all the rest that my chains are in Christ. Do you know what God did? God put Paul right in the place where someone would have never heard the gospel. Even if Paul would have preached in the Colosseum, even though Paul would have preached in the greatest synagogue, that Roman soldier would have never gave him the time of day. But guess what? His job was to sit beside Paul and listen. God's good, ain't he? He had to sit and endure while all those church people from Rome would come in, and Paul would talk to them, and he would counsel them, and he would share the gospel. And he began, and guess what? By Philippians chapter 4, you're going to find out some of those guards got saved. Some of those guards that would have never heard the gospel. Well, the reason I say that, friends, is do you realize that if God had not put you where you are today and made you go through what you've gone through, there might be somebody that would have never heard the gospel. There's a very good possibility that person will be in hell for an eternity because God didn't put you where you needed to be. Do you realize that there's a Roman soldier that we're going to get to talk to in heaven one day? We're going to get to walk up to him and he says, you know, I got so tired of being around Paul that I began to listen to his stories. I began to listen to that great message, and God saved me. That's when you can find joy even when you're in a storm. Even if you're running through a test. Let me ask you something. You ever wondered why God put you in the hospital? Because there might be a nurse there that needs the gospel. There might be a doctor there that needs the gospel. And God's put you there. If you call it a test, you call it a stop, and you say, oh, God can't use me. Well, let me tell you, yes, He can. He can use you wherever He puts you. That's what Paul's saying. Paul says, he said, I'm not ashamed of the gospel. But look what he says first. He says, so as much as in me, I am ready to preach the gospel to you who are in Rome also. For I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, for the Jew first and also for the Greek. I wonder, where are you? When God puts a stop in your life, are you ready? I wonder, God put you in the job that you got right now. You call that a stop. Are you ready? Do you have the perspective of life that Paul had? Paul said all this is worked out. And do you realize that God even used Paul in a greater way? And I'm going to close with this. God used Paul in his affliction so much that the people that were outside the walls of the palace became emboldened. They became bold to share the gospel because of what Paul was going through. They said, my goodness, if Paul can share the gospel in the midst of this trial, in the midst of this pain, I surely can share the gospel out here. And Paul said, and I read, and I quote Paul, when he says in verse 14, and most of the brethren in the Lord, having become confident in my change, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. That something happened to those men that was preachers and teachers and Christians. They saw Paul, and Paul in the midst of all of this trial, in the midst of all of this stuff, Paul was still sharing the gospel, and they said, my goodness, if Paul can do it there, I can do it even better free. I close with this thought. What kind of influence are you having on your children and on your grandchildren? An influence with the world, teaching them a worldly perspective. So I'm sorry this happened, but I look at my life and I try to explain why God did a lot of stuff in it. And I'll put it to you this way. I got to join Paul and said, if God had not done some of these things, then I never would be standing here preaching and never would share the gospel. See, God's trying to get you to have a heavenly perspective. See, life lived for the world. Jesus said, you'll lose the world. I promise you, it's not going to last. You're going to lose whatever you're dying for or living for or loving today. It's not going to last. But what God's called us to do is the same thing, Paul. Look at your life through the eyes of God and say, God, what are you doing to further the gospel? Every head down, every eye closed. Father, give us your view. Give us the view, Lord, of what you're doing. But Father, help us first to join the movement. That Father, that our life does not consist of comfort, joy, of things and items, but Lord, it comes from a relationship with you. And the first step, Lord, is asking you to begin a relationship with us. So, Lord, help us today to commit to you. And we'll give you praise for what you do this day as we sing and as we turn our eyes on you. We ask in Jesus' name.
Page 198, if you'll please stand and sing, page 198.
This altar's open. Will you come? Father, help this church to understand its calling. Father, we're here to call souls to repentance and to salvation. Father, we're not here to build a club. Father, help us. The only way we can do that is by turning our eyes upon Jesus. Because He stepped out of glory, and Lord, He came all the way to this earth so that He might share the good news with you and with me. So Father, thank you for this day of great joy, but also this day of great challenge as you're calling us to find joy. Lord, we love you and we thank you. And today we say we'll love you by our actions. We ask you in your precious Son's name. Amen. God bless you. You're dismissed.